Is now the right time or the wrong time to buy a house?
What's the right answer?
It depends. What's up, guys? My name is Gustavo David Ortiz, entrepreneur, investor, consultant, and real estate professional. And in this week's Rocket Fuel, we're going to be talking about whether or not it's even a good idea to buy a house or any kind of property at all. I am getting a ton of questions about whether or not it's a good time to buy a home, buy investment property, buy commercial. And if you recall in our last week's Rocket Fuel, we talked a little bit about if you're looking to sell a home or a property of any kind, really, now is the time to do it. It's probably going to be the most money you're going to get for that property for quite some time. You can look at the link for that video in the description below. But today, we're going to be talking about what it means to actually be on the buy side of that kind of transaction.
Before I continue, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button right there. And also make sure you hit that little bell thingy. That'll keep you updated on all the videos I have coming out every week. Make sure you like. I'd love to hear your comments. This helps me get popular on YouTube and Facebook. You know LinkedIn's all about them comments too. Oh yeah, and don't forget to share this with your buddy who's been thinking about real estate. You know what I'm talking about.
And now you may proceed. With everything going down as it is with the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, most people are comparing what could potentially happen in our housing market and our real estate market here today with what happened back in 2008. Now, while there is definitely a good reason to be thinking along those lines, there are some differences from that catastrophe as compared to this one. Since the last one was really precipitated on the mortgage crisis, it was difficult for banks to even loan money in the first place. This one is not necessarily going to have the same problem. There will definitely be challenges, one of which is going to be employers' ability to be able to hold on to employees, which means that there's going to be a challenge with job loss. But for those of you who are still able to purchase a property or just have a need to, the question then becomes, well, do I wait and, wait for prices to go down so that I can buy a home or a property on the cheap? Or do I go ahead and buy something now?
Quite honestly, that will all depend on your particular circumstances.
There are essentially two ways for you to be able to get a great deal on a home. One is obviously the price of the home, which is really what most people, the vast majority of people focus on. And that's the case for any kind of real estate, whether you're talking about a residential home, an investment home, or a commercial property. The price is usually the first thing that everyone focuses on. The second thing to seriously consider is where are the interest rates? Interest rates are another area where you can actually get a deal on a property. Now, why is that the case? Well, you see, your interest rates have a direct impact to what you're going to be paying per month, because the higher the interest rate is for the same size property, the higher your actual monthly payment's going to be, which means that the higher the interest rate is, the lower your buying power is. So we have to take that into consideration.
This also means that the same mortgage payment at, let's say, 3.75% would be able to afford you a lesser house if that interest rate went up to 4.75%. You see, as of right now, interest rates are still at pretty much the lowest that we've seen in decades. And what that means for you is that the money that you do have available to purchase gives you the most buying power right now than it has in a very, very long time. Now, it's been slightly lower than what it is now, but that's very recently. Right now, as of the posting of this video, we are looking at somewhere between 3.75% to 4% with regard to home interest rates, for example. That is an amazing interest rate if you're looking to purchase a home.
But Gus, if I wait for the market to crash, then I'll just scoop up a heck of a deal once the market crashes.
Maybe.
Why is that not a resounding yes? Well, the reason is because we don't know how the interest rates are going to be impacted in all of this that's going on. So yes, there are very strong indicators that home values are going to go down. However, what we don't know is how much the interest rates are going to be adjusted by comparison. So if interest rates tend to stay the same or they go down, then you know what? Waiting may be a great opportunity for you. However, what if you decide to wait and interest rates go up?
Let me explain.
Okay, so I'll try not to throw too many numbers out, but we do have to explain a few things. So let's look at an example of what it would look like to actually purchase a $300,000 home, assuming that you're putting 3.5% down, which is for an FHA loan, right? And you have an interest rate of 3.75% because you have great credit and you're ready to rock and roll now, right? So this would give you an approximately monthly mortgage payment of about $1,340. Now let's assume that you decided to wait till maybe later this year or even next year to go ahead and purchase a home, to wait for home values to go down. And in that time, interest rates went up by a percentage point. Now, assuming you'd like to keep your mortgage payment at $1,340 like you had when you tried to buy a house today versus next year, well, now when you go to get pre-qualified, all your numbers are still the same. The only thing that changes is the interest rate. Well, instead of being able to qualify for a $300,000 house, now that same monthly payment only qualifies you for a $266,000 home. So you see, the same mortgage payment is giving you less of a home because you have less buying power because your interest rate has moved up a full percentage point. As a matter of fact, the banks, as soon as they saw the coronavirus might have some kind of economic impact into our economy, they immediately, almost overnight, went from a 3.25% interest rate to a 4.75%.
So if their knee-jerk reaction is to immediately raise interest rates by over a full percentage point overnight, there's a pretty good chance that their response to any kind of economic slowdown moving forward may be the same.
What this illustrates is we would need to see, at the very least, a 12% drop in value of homes or properties in general to match a 1% increase in interest rates. Do you guys understand what that means?
It means that if you feel like you saved $44,000 on a home that was originally $300,000, now $266,000, but you're paying the same mortgage, the money that you saved really becomes a moot point. And that's just so you can break even. I mean, if you really want to save money, you would have to really have that value go down significantly more than $44,000.
Otherwise, it's just a wash, and you might as well have bought a house today versus next year. Trying to play the market is just an impossible task. We never know. There are so many variables that are involved in the process. I'm in the business, and I don't know how to do that. Otherwise, you'd see real estate agents just making a killing every time this happens. And what tends to happen is real estate agents end up getting completely out of the business because they couldn't have even predicted this type of situation.
So what does this mean for you? Well, it means a few things. One, obviously making sure that your finances are in order and you feel comfortable about where you are. If those things are the case, there's really no reason why moving now is not a bad decision. So the other thing to take into consideration is we don't know where interest rates are going to be going. There's a good chance that home values may be going down. We don't know how much and how deep. It doesn't necessarily seem like it's going to be as deep as what we saw in 2008, but again, there's no way to really know. What we do know, and these are the things that we can make decisions on, are the things that we're familiar with, that we have information on. And the things that we have information on is we know where home values are right now, we know where interest rates are right now, and you know your own personal financial situation. So if all of those things make sense for you, real estate is a long-term investment. It's not something that you're trying to flip tomorrow. If that's the case, I would say definitely stay out of the real estate game right now. However, if you're buying a house for the long term, homes increase in value over time. They've always consistently increased in value over time. So if you plan on staying in your home for the next, after you buy it, of course, next 7 to 10 years, then there's no reason why not to buy. Interest rates are super low. home values are actually pretty decent, and you're in a position right now to be able to negotiate and leverage some of the fears that sellers are having about what's going to happen with the market, especially if they have a need to move. So, in my opinion, it's not a bad time to purchase at all.
All right, guys, well, that's my time. I hope the information was helpful. If you have any questions, leave any comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.